New allegations against Sean Diddy Combs, prosecutors accusing him of continuing efforts to obstruct the federal investigation into his sex trafficking case and trying to taint the jury pool even from the Brooklyn jail where he's detained. In the latest court filing, prosecutors claim that the music mogul has been trying to evade government monitoring by using the telephone accounts of at least 8 other inmates. They allege that he paid the inmates through intermediaries in violation of the rules. And they argue that Combs should not be entitled to another bail hearing after he sought to contact potential witnesses, including accusers, with the goal of blackmailing them to keep quiet or help his defense. Joining me now is defense attorney Misty Marris. That is pretty detailed. It really sounds here like prosecutors have some evidence to prove this. And if so, how bad is this, Misty?
Absolutely. So the prosecutors laid out all of this information, which is presumably from these jailhouse phone calls, which either came from his account or came from the accounts of other prisoners. Remember, when somebody is behind bars, all of their communications are monitored. So what the prosecution is laying out are attempts by Diddy to do things under the radar, to reach out and communicate with witnesses. So this obviously is to great detriment when it comes to his argument for bail, because a lot of that was based upon the judge's perception that there could be a problem with him communicating with witnesses if he is not behind bars. So if he's doing this while incarcerated, well, what is he going to do when he's out, even with 24-hour security as he proposed? He's still going to try and evade that. So from the perspective of bail, incredibly problematic.
So what is the effect right now of what he may have done when it's, this idea of if he's been trying to get certain narratives out there, if he's been trying to, as prosecutors allege, essentially blackmail witnesses, what could the effect have been on tainting the jury pool, on intimidating witnesses, and just obstructing this case?
Absolutely. There's a lot more that could happen. So initially, the bail proceeding, that's obviously going to be the most impacted, but it could also add new charges. There could be a superseding indictment. There could be new counts of witness tampering. There could be counts of obstruction of justice. And to the extent that he's leaking information that could be evidence at the trial, that would fall into those legal theories as well, that he is taking affirmative action to try and intervene in that legal process in an illegal way. So those could be all new charges. The other aspect is that there could be evidence presented at trial to say he's trying to contact these witnesses because he knows what they're going to say is to his detriment. So it could be presented as indicia of guilt. So it certainly has an impact on him moving forward in several different respects.
And the Combs team is saying that personal notes that prosecutors obtained from his jail cell include attorney-client material about defense witnesses, about strategy. Who could authorize that kind of search of his cell? Tell us what kind of, does this defense hold water?
Yes, this is actually very, very important because the defense clapped back, wrote a letter to the judge, said this is a violation of his 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment rights. Now, important to understand, when you're behind bars, there is no expectation of privacy. It's different. A cell can be searched without probable cause. Very different than if a warrant for your home needs to be presented. So those cells can be searched. And prosecutors had said this was part of a pre-planned nationwide search by the Federal Bureaus of Prisons, so not specifically relating to Diddy. That being said, even though there's no expectation of privacy and searches can be conducted, there is still a carve-out for attorney-client privileged materials. So to the extent that those materials were taken improperly, and again, they go through what's called a filter team, prosecutors set there through a team of people who identify what's privileged before it goes to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Defense is saying that improper materials actually got to prosecutors. That could have serious consequences, Brianna. If true, that could mean that some of that evidence could be excluded, and anything relating to that evidence that comes from it through an investigation could be excluded as well. So depending on what the defense will present, they've asked for an evidentiary hearing. How did this happen? What was taken? Why wasn't it filtered out? To the extent prosecutors have privileged material, there could be serious repercussions for the case moving forward to Diddy's benefit.
It's really interesting. Misty Marris, thank you so much.